Red Dead Redemption 2 is renowned for its expansive open world, rich storytelling, and intricate details. While many players focus on the main storyline, the game is replete with hidden secrets that are challenging to discover. These secrets, ranging from eerie Easter eggs to elusive characters and locations, add even more depth and narrative to the game, rewarding those who venture off the beaten path. In this video, we'll explore some of the hardest secrets to find in the open world of Red Dead Redemption 2 that are often overlooked and never found. But before we begin, I would like to thank you for all of your support. It has been a while since I last uploaded, and the support on this channel never stops, so I appreciate that. I will be back on a normal upload schedule starting today, so if you have not already, please be sure to subscribe, as 99% of viewers have not done so. I have also launched a Discord server that anyone can join right now, so if anyone is interested in that, the link will be in the description below. Now, without further ado, let's dive into some of the hardest Easter eggs and secrets to find in Red Dead Redemption 2. Starting in Strawberry in Chapter 2, there are actually 3 ways to break Micah out of jail. However, players usually break him out the way the game tells them to and tend to look over the other options. To break Micah out of jail, you can loot the cell keys off of the sheriff and proceed to unlock Micah. Instead of looting the keys, you can also place a dynamite stick on the inside of Micah's cell to break him out. However, if you want to skip the sheriff completely, you can go talk to Micah outside of the jailhouse directly, where you break Micah out of jail using a steam donkey. No matter which option you use, Micah will kill his cellmate on his exit. This secret is not necessarily hard to find, but most players overlook it. For our next secret, the player will need to visit the location where Arthur dies before that happens in-game, where you will find an eagle on the edge of the cliff. Now, if you visit the gravesite of Arthur on top of the mountain as John, you will get 2 ending alternatives depending on your honor level. If the player has high honor, John will see another eagle on top of Arthur's grave, which the player will not be able to shoot. You can also notice several flowers arranged around Arthur's grave. However, if the player has low honor, they will find a wolf at the gravesite instead, and there will be no flowers around Arthur's grave. If John approaches the grave, he will start talking to Arthur. This secret is pretty difficult to find, as it requires 100% game completion. Now the only question is, was the eagle Arthur or eagle flies? Our next secret is one of the most poignant and tragic stories added to the game that can be easily overlooked by players. If you head to this location just north of Moonstone Pond and travel up the mountain through a small crack in the rocks and walk out onto the ledge that follows, you will be greeted with a carved face in the mountain and a hanging corpse beneath it. The player can loot the man and find a note. The note reveals that the man was a talented sculptor who fell deeply in love with a woman whose beauty and spirit captivated him. His love for her was so intense that he decided to immortalize her by carving her face into a rock on a cliffside in the region of Roanoke Ridge. However, his obsession led to a tragic end. After taking too long to complete the project, it seems the lady fell in love with a different artist, who the sculptor calls a list of things, including crude little goat and a terrible French cat. The disappointed artist hung himself near the very rock he used as his canvas, leaving behind a haunting scene for players to discover. Could the artist the lady fell in love with be Charles, the French artist Arthur can meet in Saint-Denis? This story, uncovered through exploration and observation, underscores the themes of love, loss, and the lengths to which passion can drive an individual, adding even more depth to the game. While we are on the topic of love stories, I think it is a good time to bring up the secret of Emerald Ranch. Most players have been there, and you may have stumbled upon the abandoned saloon. Head inside it, and you'll discover bullet holes in the walls and blood on the floor. Behind the saloon, the player can find a gravestone for Joshua Burgess, which it reads was accidentally shot. Next, head to Cumberland Forest, and you'll find an abandoned mail cart on the side of the road. Inside of the cart, you will find a lockbox that contains a few letters, one being addressed to Miriam Wegner. In the letter, it is made clear that Miriam's cousin is concerned for her well-being, alluding to her, quote, losing Joshua in such a horrible way. The letter also has a PS that is addressed to Miriam's father Eugene and cautions him not to hide the letters from Miriam or constrain her in any way. Now, if the player heads back to Emerald Ranch in the middle of the night, you'll see a woman appear in the window of the second floor of the main house. It is believed that this woman is Miriam and that her father killed Joshua to keep Miriam from marrying him. The saloon was subsequently closed, left to decay as a silent witness to the grim events that transpired. This story is shrouded in mystery and revealed only through careful exploration of the ranch and its surroundings. Moving on to a more lighthearted secret. If you head to this location, you will come across one of the rarest animals in Red Dead Redemption 2. It is a black sheep with a pink bow around its neck. If you kill the sheep and loot its body, you will receive a golden wedding ring. The black sheep not only provides an unexpected surprise for observant players, but also is a testament to the fans' patience and dedication to uncovering every hidden gem the game has to offer. Now, did you know you could find the grave of Dutch's mother in Blackwater? Dutch mentions the location of his mother's grave to Hosea and Arthur while fishing with them, and the player can later go find the grave itself in the epilogue.
Well done.
Did I ever tell you my mother's buried in Blackwater?
Really? She is?
Apparently so. I only found out from an uncle of mine years later. Last I knew, she was still outside Philadelphia. I left home at 15 and didn't see her again. She and I didn't always see eye to eye. I wasn't always a very obedient child.
I can only imagine.
Still, I loved her in my own way, and she me in hers. Somehow, even from the grave, she managed to have the last laugh.
The gravestone reads Greta Vanderland, loving mother to her son Dutch. Moving on to one of the most elusive secrets in Red Dead Redemption 2, which is the Ghost Train, a spectral locomotive that silently traverses the tracks in the middle of the night. This eerie apparition can be encountered in the northwestern part of the Lemoyne region and specifically on the tracks around 3 a.m. While this secret is pretty well known, what makes the Ghost Train particularly hard to find is its narrow time window and the need for players to be in the right place at the right time. The train's sudden, silent emergence from the fog and its short-lived journey before vanishing into the night add to its mystique. Another reason the Ghost Train made this list is because it can only be seen one time in the player's entire playthrough, and there's always a low chance of it spawning at all. Another haunting secret lies in the murky swamps of Bluewater Marsh, the Ghost Woman. This eerie apparition can be encountered on foggy nights, specifically between 9 p.m. and 3 a.m. The Ghost Woman is often seen wandering near the swamps, her mournful wails echoing through the mist.
Come back to me. Come back to me.
What makes her particularly hard to find is her sporadic appearances and the need for players to navigate the treacherous, alligator-infested marshes at night. Ains was a young woman who fell deeply in love but suffered devastating heartbreak when her lover either abandoned her or met a tragic end. Overwhelmed by grief, she wandered the swamps, eventually taking her own life in despair. While some players do know about this secret, it is even less known that you are actually able to kill the ghost for a second time with a tomahawk. The player is able to encounter the ghost up to 16 times. However, if you get too close to her, she will disappear. Moving on to a hidden cutscene that is often missed by most players. During the mission, We Loved Once and True. Instead of chasing after Jamie, Arthur can choose to confront and kill the Chelonian cult leader. This decision triggers a unique cutscene where the cult members react with shock and fear, highlighting the leader's control over them.
He has fallen, so we must rise! We rise!
And all of the remaining cult members will jump off of the cliff. This hidden cutscene provides an alternate perspective on the mission, emphasizing the impact of Arthur's actions on Jamie and showcasing the game's intricate narrative choices and their consequences. Now for another one of the most intriguing mysteries players can uncover, but is often overlooked as once again you only get one chance to unlock this in-game, which is the hidden Braithwaite treasure. During the mission where the gang attempts to rescue Jack and burn down the Braithwaite mansion, there will be a room on the left that the player can search. This room is usually locked, and this is the only point in the game that the player can enter. Inside of the room, you can find the golden Braithwaite family shield above the fireplace. There is also a ladder to Angelo Bronte located to the left of the fireplace. Furthermore, if players carefully explore the manor after Chapter 3, by searching through the ruins of the mansion, players will find a buried lockbox containing gold bars which are likely the remnants of the family's wealth. This discovery not only rewards players with valuable loot, but also adds a satisfying conclusion to the Braithwaite family's tragic tale, providing closure to one of the game's most enduring mysteries. Next up is a secret that can be found on shores southwest of Shady Belle. If you come to this location, you will find the remains of a runaway slave, and on him you'll find a letter that details his heartbreaking story. It is from this letter we learn the man's name is Elijah, and he was a runaway slave who was held captive by a terrible man at Old Harry Fen. If the player travels to Old Harry Fen, you can see just how horrible the conditions were in which Elijah was held in. On the couch is a newspaper clipping that talks about a $200 reward for the capture of a runaway slave from the Shady Belle plantation, suggesting that this shack belonged to a slave catcher. Under the floor, the player can find a photograph of a family. It is unclear if this photo is of Elijah's family or not, but the story of Elijah is just one of many tragic stories hidden in the vast open world of RDR2. If the player heads to Dewberry Creek, they can find even more evidence of stories similar to Elijah's. Here you can find a burnt-down shack. If you climb to the basement and look up into the rafters, you will see a bounce of names written on them, and dates between 1851 and 1856, which are years that the Underground Railroad was in operation. It is believed that this station was used to help slaves escape captivity, but was burnt down once its identity was exposed. Right down the road at Compton Stead, the player can find even more evidence, such as tallies and crosses in the bottom of the well, and a slave dungeon in the basement of the Compton Stead home. The player only gets to see this basement once, and can even find a journal with a ledger with a list of slaves. Again, right down the road from the home is an unmarked slave graveyard, tying all of the close-by locations together to portray the historical reality of slavery with a nuanced and respectful approach, adding depth and authenticity to its narrative, as it could possibly never even be noticed by players. Another Easter egg that follows that same era can be found at this location, as Arthur comes across a man who believes the Civil War is still going on.
State your side, sir. North or south?
Well, I sure ain't from the South.
Lucky for you. Captain Hayden Russell, 29th Ambarino Volunteer Infantry. Do you bring news from General Skollick?
Who's General Skollick?
I'm awaiting orders. We will move on Lemoyne soon and take Saint-Denis from the rebels.
You do know what year it is, right?
What kind of question's that? 1862, April 14th. Now move along, civilian, and watch yourself. Johnny Reb's in the area.
Dressed in a tattered Confederate uniform, his mind is trapped in the past, unable to grasp that the war ended years ago. This encounter highlights the lasting impact of the Civil War on individuals, portraying the deep psychological scars left on those who fought in it. And a lot of players missed this encounter during their playthrough. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a masterpiece that encourages exploration and rewards curiosity. The hardest secrets to find are not just about their physical locations, but also the stories they tell and the atmosphere they create. These hidden gems add layers of depth to the game, making it a richer experience for those who take the time to uncover its mysteries. Whether it's encountering ghosts, solving puzzles, or stumbling upon bizarre Easter eggs, the thrill of discovery in RDR2 is unparalleled, solidifying its place as one of the most detailed and immersive open-world games ever created. If you made it this far, be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments. As mentioned before, I am back to normal uploading, so be sure to subscribe and join the Discord to stay updated. If you liked this video, be sure to let me know, as there are plenty of secrets left for a part 2. Thank you all for watching.